video, we covered the fact that I'm getting divorced. Um, and now I think it's smart, or at least I think it's wise for me to look at myself in this. As we titled this video, why she left. I'm not going to speak for her, and I can't speak for her. But what I can do is I can clean up my side of the street, which is exactly what I'm going to do, in seeing where I went wrong. Obviously, I know I get some people in the comment section, both on this channel and my sports channel, talking about how it takes two to tango in a marriage, and I agree, but I can't control her. I can only control what I do. So that being said, my shortcomings. So in marriage, everybody's obviously not perfect, and they've got their own issues, and they've got their own things and quirks and stuff. I personally, I think the reason that I think she left. Well, I know she left. Is the biggest reason is because I didn't listen to her. I didn't take enough time. I didn't. I did not. I was not present there for her. What I mean by that is so, and this is not me making an excuse. This is just the reality of the situation. I have ADD. I've had it ever since I was a kid. I took pills when I was a kid, got off them because I was able to function and get my grades up, do all that kind of stuff. Throughout adulthood, it has been sometimes I just get lost in conversation. I zone out, and I'm not even thinking about what the other person is saying. I'm not paying attention. Um, and for my ex-wife, that was very important. That was something that made her feel valid, which is valid. That was my fault. I wasn't present enough. We tried a couple of different things. I personally went to counseling, and tried to, see if there was, something that psychologically was that what went wrong with me. I had two alcoholic parents growing up, so that obviously left its scars. But also had some things happen through alcohol. Like, life is messed up, right? We all have a story. But at the end of the day, I tried counseling. I think it helped in some regards. Obviously, I think there's a lot that goes into counseling. I think you need to be able to be honest. You need to be able to look deep and try to come to conclusions that will come through with breakthroughs, right? Well, I feel like it's helped in some regards, but I don't know that it necessarily helped with being present. Even though that counselor gave me some good things, I didn't do a good enough job of implementing them and taking them seriously, and that was my fault. Also, I tried taking medication. I went and saw a therapist or psychiatrist. I'm not sure which one it was, but and he prescribed medication to me that I I just don't think it. I don't know if it helped. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have no idea. I took that medication for I think a little over a year, and it just didn't seem like it did anything. I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I think he gave me a lower dosage to start out with, and then I went into a higher dosage, and I can't say that I actually noticed any change. And so, and I think looking back on it now, I can see why my ex-wife was frustrated. She was just trying to get me to be there, which again was my fault. But another part of that too was the business. I started a marketing company about 3 years ago, and you typically, when you start a business, you don't take a paycheck. You don't. Very rarely do you, especially when you first start it. You pay, as my business partner explains it, you pay for the home and you pay for the children. Not necessarily that you pay for the children and you pay for the house. So in other words, you pay your employees and you pay rent. Now, I was lucky at the time to be married to her because she made a good living, and we did okay, and I was able to go out and try this. I didn't make money, but my employees did, and that's what I think really upset her, is the fact that I was, spending all this time, putting all this effort in, and I wasn't getting rewarded for it right at the time. And I get that. Another portion of that too was I wasn't charging what I needed to when I first started my company. That was the hardest thing for me to do, was find my self-worth. And I think this is the first year. I'm now in year 3. This is the first year where I'm actually starting to charge what I need to charge, but also just be upfront with people about what I charge. I'm not even being upfront. It's more about charging what I need to charge, because I was always wanting to be people's friend. I always wanted to make them feel like they were getting good value. And it's like, well, yeah, but I also need to get paid. I also need to take care of my employees, myself, all that kind of stuff. So I'm a business. I got to make money, and that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn at first, and that was very frustrating for her too. Was the fact that I wasn't getting a paycheck, but it was mainly because I wasn't charging what I needed to charge. I always gave more for the business. I ran my own personal truck into the ground to keep the business afloat while I drove that until we got a company vehicle. And there was a lot of things that went on with the business that at the first, when you start a business, it's very difficult. Obviously, if everybody could do it, they would. But just from the schedule, I didn't see my wife a lot. And that was another thing too. I mean, when you're a business owner, you deal with your clients, right? You get calls, you get calls, excuse me, you get a lot of different things you have to deal with. And that was my fault. I should have been able to turn it off at sometimes. I should have been able to, hang out with my wife, been present for her, be able to go on vacations with her, like little things like that. Maybe even not even necessarily vacations, but just being present. And I didn't do a good enough job of that. So, obviously I take responsibility for that. And like I said, I'm never going to downplay her. I'll be very honest. I don't like her right now. I'm very mad at her. And it's very extremely difficult for me to actually talk about this right now because of how much anger I have in my heart right now for her, which is probably why I have part of the reason I'm doing this, so I can let some of this shit go. But the other part is that, I need to figure out where I went wrong. Not even from a dating perspective, like, oh, for the next one. No, I've sworn off women for a little bit, for at least a year or two, just because I need to work on myself. I need to work on my business. I let go a lot of myself in getting married, and so did she. So I think personally, I've just really taken more of a look at where I need to get better, both not even just as a future potential husband or a boyfriend, or but mainly as a son, a follower of Christ. And all the different aspects of that. I'll be honest, I'm still a little broken from it. I don't think anybody that actually loves someone, can just walk away like she did. So that's been another thing that I've been struggling with, is like, I just don't think she loved me. And I think that's hard for me to say. And that's not me casting dispersions on her. That's just how I feel, just based off of her actions and based off of, what she put a priority on. But again, I think that it comes back to me cleaning up my side of the street. I wasn't a good enough husband. I can completely understand why she left. I didn't do a good enough job in a lot of aspects. But my biggest thing is, like, I'm not beating myself up over that anymore. I realize that I'm in this position now where I'm lucky because I have a business. I have a lot of good friends. I've got a God that loves me. I've got a great family. So I'm pulling myself up by my bootstraps little by little. I believe the divorce will be finalized here in the next month or so. So I'm extremely excited for that to go through, just so I can just start the process. But overall, like I said, I'm not happy about getting divorced. I don't think anybody's ever happy about it, but I am happy that I get to see who I am as a person and get better, both as a follower of Christ and just as an overall human being. And so, like I said, this was never ever intended to be something where I just a trash talker, and I don't think I did that in this video at all. But it's been more always about trying to see where I fell short, and like I said, hopefully throughout this vlogging process, you find something that helps you, because it's helping me get it out. And shout out to my buddy Ben for kind of giving me this thought. So overall, I think that's kind of where I'm at now, is trying to get better and just trying to be alone and take care of myself. But thank you guys so much for the journey so far. I thank you guys so much for your kind comments and love and everything to start this out. There'll be more vlogs once a week, just kind of giving you a recap. And yeah, I'll talk about my business. I'll talk about my life. I have a year-old Yellow Lab puppy, Callie, that just got spayed. So that's going to be my life for the next couple of weeks. But I'll be sure to get out content for you guys. And like I said, I just can't thank you guys enough for the support and everything. And we'll see you on the next video.